This week on the Analog Circle podcast, we will be talking about the latest Inside Xbox show. The Division 2 will be pulled from digital platforms. That's going to be interesting. PlayStation 4 gets an update that allows remote play for iOS devices. The new Remedy game called Control has a release window. Cyber Punk 2077 is coming to E3. Nintendo Switch is getting VR. And is Sony buying Take2 Interactive? All of these stories and so many more on episode 93 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and my goodness, it has been quite some time since I have done a podcast, at least an official Analog Circle podcast, but I am happy, very, very happy to report that I am back to 100% health. My hand is working 100% fine and everything is copacetic, baby. We are back. We are finally back in the building one more time. So, with that being said, I know you guys already heard the music in the background. Yes, there is definitely a giveaway this week. I love giving these gift cards away because it is just my way of showing my appreciation for you guys checking out the podcast. I promise you, it's going to show up a little bit into the show. Someone had suggested to me a little while ago to maybe not put it at the front of the podcast, to try to give everybody at least somewhat of a fair shot at getting it, because some people might download it later, others may download it sooner. So I'll put it somewhere in there. You guys will have to find it, but it's definitely for a $25 Xbox gift card, and you got a few games coming out this week. The game, what is it? Shadows Die Twice, or Shigeru, I forget the name of it, but that's coming out sometime this month, along with several other games that I have no idea what they are at the minute. But guys, I want to ask y'all something. Man, it's been a while since I've talked to you guys, and man, have I missed y'all. Good gracious, I truly have. But I want to ask you guys, when was I was talking to my lady, right? And we start talking about cereals, Post and Kellogg's and all of that stuff. Well, in my old childhood, cause I'm old now, I'm 40 years old, baby, but when I was younger, my parents always got the off-brand cereal, man. I didn't come up on Apple Jacks. I didn't come up on, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I didn't come up on Cheerios. I had stuff called Tasty-O's, stuff that was just called Jacks. And, one of the cereals, it wasn't even Frosted Flakes. It was just called Frosted, and had a little, it was a tiger on the front, but it wasn't Frosty though. He was some off-brand looking tiger that just smiled and had his hand on a bowl on the front of the bag. So my lady told me she didn't think that the cereals taste the same. She said the off-brand cereal is not nearly as good as the name brand cereal. Now, I'm a little older now, well, quite a bit older. I'm able to get the name brand cereals, and I gotta tell you, man, I don't know the difference. I can't really taste it. I wanted to know, are any listeners out there familiar with this, and how do you feel? Do you think they both taste the same, or do you think one is a little more delicious than the other? Let me know. But anyway, we didn't come here to talk about cereals, though. I just wanted to get that up off my chest. But we are here to talk about the gaming news. Now, before I get into the gaming news for this week, I have to shout out 3 individuals that I had my first podcast back on the scene with. So shout out to Goose, shout out to Cody Clark, and shout out to Mike J. I want to thank them again for being co-hosts on that show. I thought it was a fantastic show. We were talking about, is the Xbox brand dead? Is it going to be able to survive? Because at that time, it was the news that came out about the Xbox games were not games, but Game Pass was supposed to be going to the Nintendo Switch. And it was word out there that was saying that Cuphead was going and Ori and the Blind Forest, they were on their way. Well, since then, there has been no more talks about that situation, so it could have just been rumors, like we said at the beginning of the podcast. But nonetheless, I want to thank them again, and man, it was awesome to have them on. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the gaming news that went down. Now, let's get into some Shenmue news. Oh my gosh. Now, it looks like there has been a new trailer finally shown off at the French anime and game convention Magic. That's the name of the convention. Now, it was held in Monaco, and this trailer, it looks okay. It looks pretty good, but in some scenes it looks a little dated. But nonetheless, the game will release on August 27th. I had to take this trailer in, and as I'm looking at the graphics, as I'm looking at what Mr. Yu Suzuki and his team have been crafting over the years, I think, what was this shown off? Maybe 2016, maybe no later than 2017. These guys have been working, I don't know if they've been consistent, brother, because this game has been MIA for quite some time, but it looks to be pretty good graphically. It doesn't look bad, but for some reason, as I'm looking at this game, I am saying to myself, this looks like this is going to be outdated. Hey, don't kill me. It's just my opinion. Other people may feel differently, but for me, it doesn't look like it's going to live up to the hype. I want to be 100% wrong. I don't want to be right about this. Am I the biggest Shenmue fan out there? Absolutely not. I did beat the first one. I picked up the second one. I did not beat the second one, to put that on the record. This third one, was I looking forward to it? Of course. It's Yu Suzuki. We haven't seen anything from this gentleman in many, many moons. So I am rooting for him and his team to do an amazing job. But how confident am I in this team? It's yet to be seen, but nonetheless, once again, August 27th, we will figure out how well this game does. Moving on. Now let's get into some interesting Google news. Now we know that they have been working on a game streaming technology called Project Stream, and to show this tech off, they were giving Assassin's Creed Odyssey away for free for a limited time, of course. Well, now there is a patent floating around online that shows what the possible controller could look like for the upcoming streaming device. Now, this is the breakdown of what this thing looks like. Now, it has 2 analog sticks, no pun there, 2 analog sticks, a D-pad, 2 shoulder buttons, 2 trigger buttons, and something that was being talked about as being a possible voice assistant. Now, it's worth noting that the final design probably won't look like the patent drawings, but we will get a much clearer understanding of this on March 19th, where Google is giving a keynote at GDC, where it is speculation that they will show and talk about the upcoming service. Now, this kind of took me by, not really by surprise, because we know that Google is trying to get into this space. We know that Google is serious. This is something that they are trying to go at hard. And even, let's take it a step further, because I think I wrote this down. Maybe I didn't. I think I did. But just last night, it was announced that Jade Raymond is actually going to be joining their team. So Jade Raymond, if you're not familiar with her, I believe she was an executive producer on Assassin's Creed 1. She was a producer on Assassin's Creed 2. She worked on, another Ubisoft game. I'm forgetting the name of it at the moment, but she also got a Legend Award earlier this year in New York. She has been around the industry for quite some time. She went to EA, worked on a new Star Wars game. I believe that got canceled. She worked for Sony for a bit. So this woman definitely has a pretty solid background in gaming. She worked for did I say Ubisoft? I probably did, man. But, she has definitely been around the block. So having her as a vice president at Google is huge, which also lets me know that they are definitely going into this gaming situation with a serious head on their shoulders. I don't think they're going to play around and, give some offshoot C rated games or, games that we won't take seriously. I truly think that they're going to try to put their ducks in a row, and they're going to come out shooting very hard. It's also being said that this Google Stream service is actually going to be a console. Now, the console, they're saying, is going to be more powerful than the Xbox One X. I don't think that's anything shocking right there, considering that the X is going on 2 years old this year, somewhere around there. So the technology that Google should be bringing out should be much better than Microsoft's current offering. So we'll see, what happens on the 19th. I will be very interested to see what they show. Will they show any games? It was talk that Sega may be teaming up with Google. I mean, that would be absolutely, I don't know if that would be amazing or if it would be a mistake. I really don't know at this point, because Sega hasn't been knocking it out of the park lately, but nonetheless, it's an interesting topic, and we'll learn more on the 19th of this month. Now, moving on, man, into some inside Xbox news. Oh, man. Why Microsoft? God darn it. All right, man, look, we're not going to waste a lot of time on this show. If you haven't seen it, basically in the beginning, they said that Halo Master Chief Collection is coming to PC, and they're going to be basically piecemealing it to us. Well, not to me, because I'm not a PC gamer, but they're going to be piecemealing it. They said this is a huge undertaking, guys. We can't give it to you all at once. So what we're going to do, we're going to break it down piece by piece by piece and do it that way. So you can expect for this to be available on the PC by like 2023, according to my sources. And of course, I'm lying out of my teeth with that, but they're going to be piecemealing it. That's for sure. DayZ is going to be coming out March 27th. Minecraft is going to be coming to Game Pass. Woo-dip-dee-hoo about that. Let's see, March 26th, State of Decay 2 will be getting 2 new difficulty levels called, Dread Zone and Nightmare Zone. And, they talked a little bit about the xCloud, and, public trials will start for this, sometime this year for the xCloud service. Wait. Let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about this xCloud thing. Now, if you haven't seen it, they had apparently shown off what is supposed to be what the xCloud can do. So they had an Xbox controller hooked up to a regular phone. They were playing Forza. I believe it was whatever the the one that's not the simulation Horizon 4 on this phone. Now I'm gonna tell you something, brother. I am definitely not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but as I was looking at this so-called gameplay on this phone being played with an Xbox controller, I gotta tell you, brothers, I wasn't buying it. Not at all. Not even a little bit. If it's to be believed that was really what was going on, and that was real time, and it wasn't a mock-up, man, you want to talk about some latency issues. Oh, who wants to play like that? I don't know. But I just don't know how this is going to work. I have no idea. They tried to show it. They were like, hey, don't worry about it. Public trials are going to start this year. We're very, very committed to this technology, and you guys are going to love it. I mean, of course, he didn't say all of that, but basically, that's what I got out of it. Outside of that, I just don't know about that service. But time will tell. And Bonnie Ross, she actually confirmed that Halo Infinite will be at E3 this year. So that's very, very interesting news. I'm going to tell you, that is about the gist of the show. It was a very, very short show. I appreciated that Microsoft didn't waste a lot of our time. I thought that the production value it looked good. It looked fine. It was cool. I didn't think anything was wrong with it. But I mean, good grief. It just wasn't a lot there to me, personally, for Xbox fans. I don't think it was anything in there that was gonna rock your socks or, make you say, oh my gosh, I feel so great to be an Xbox owner. I did not get that vibe at all. Maybe others may feel differently, but for me, I'm not necessarily saying it was a miss, but I'm saying it was a miss. But anyway, moving on from that, and if you want to leave your comments, you can always call in 443. What is it? What's the number, man? I ain't said the number in so long, I had to just put it in the description, god dog it. But you can email the show, the analogcirclepodcast@gmail.com, whatever, however you feel, man. But moving on now into this is some news that may just get a little bit of kickback from some people. Now I want to say, man, oh man, this makes me happy that I'm not a PC gamer. No diss to y'all, but good grief, y'all got a lot of issues that's coming up in y'all community. So, some interesting news or info has come out about the Division 2, mainly, like I said, if you're on PC, because it's being reported that the game will be pulled from every digital storefront immediately after it releases. Then you will only be able to buy it on the Ubisoft official store and the Epic store. But not only, this is where just like, god darn, they ain't playing, but not only will the game not be sold on other digital fronts, but so will the DLC and expansions. So if you rock with, well, let me name some names, I don't know, GMG, Gaming Planet, Steam, I guess, you are out of luck. Now, however, if you're on the console, whether it's PS4 or Xbox One, digital sales are still possible. So if you are on the PC, oh, by the way, the game will be releasing on March 15th of this month. God darn, that is, what's the day, man? Let me look here and see. Today is the 13th, so Friday. It'll be releasing on Friday. This is very, very interesting news. It really looks like a lot of these gaming companies are trying to cut Steam out, and Epic seems to be the second go-to for these guys. This is amazing. Now, will this affect Steam? I don't know. I mean, hey, Rome was a very powerful empire at one time, and they got overran. I do not think that that Steam is above being ran over. I think that it's just going to take time. It's going to take these big publishers to finally say, you know what? We're not going to Steam. We're going the alternate route. We're going to check out Epic. And if this happens enough times, more and more frequently, then I think that eventually Steam, no pun intended, is gonna lose some steam over this. Now, of course, I think we're a long way out. I don't think this is happening anytime soon, but geez, it really looks like these companies are being very serious when it comes to keeping their games off of the Steam platform. It has been said time and time again. I don't know if you guys know this, but Coca-Cola and Pepsi, the Cola Wars, when that was going on, Coca-Cola was kicking Pepsi's butt up and down the street, so much to the point where Pepsi wanted to sell to Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola said, nah, we don't need you. We're doing just fine. We're getting all of the sugar from the government. We're able to supply the troops with all of these colas. We don't need you at all. Until eventually Pepsi finally caught up with Coca-Cola and surpassed them, where it got to the point where Coke started trying to bite off of Pepsi, and it was a big, huge uproar. This isn't the Coke I grew up on. What are you doing? This is Pepsi. If I wanted Pepsi, I would get Pepsi. So the point of that story is never count the little guy out. They just may come out on top. Now, I think, man, look, you guys have been very, very patient with me. I think it's time to go ahead and read off this Xbox code for $25. So here we go. I'm going to try and pronounce these words. I mean, not these words, but these letters and numbers correctly. So I'm going to read it a little slow for myself, of course, because, man, eyes on what they used to be. Okay, here we go. $25. It is up in the air right now. And the code is GV3364796DF7X7X2RRZ. Once again, let me repeat that one more time. It is GV3364796DCXY-P6FH7X2RRZ. Man, oh man, I hope somebody gets that. Hey man, definitely call the show or email the show at the Analog Circle Podcast @gmail.com. Let me know you got it so I can shout you out, or call the line. I think it's 443-216-9934 if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, just let me know you got it so I can shout you out, man. Please spend it at your best leisure. Hopefully you get something, get a couple bucks off of a game. But like I said, I just thank you guys for rocking with me. It's always appreciated. And let's move on. Now with some quick news, Turok Dinosaur Hunter is coming to the Switch on March 18th on the eShop, and it's the remastered version. Yeah, there ain't much more to say about that, brother. Moving right on down the road. Now, so, by now, I'm sure you guys have heard of the latest PlayStation 4 update. If not, this latest update allows you to remote play on your I/O devices such as your iPad and iPhone, as well as Android and different devices. But the downside is you can't use a PlayStation 4 controller with an iPhone or an iPad unless it's jailbroken. But you can also try the touch screen option, which isn't ideal, I want to add. So here we go. People, I'm going to tell you something, man. Oh, man. The fanboy wars are real out here in these gaming streets, baby. Listen, when the news came out about this, oh, Xbox fans were going for blood. Oh, they thought it was blood in the water. Here it is. Sony's doing the same thing Microsoft is doing. You gotta see this. You gotta believe it. I'm going to be able to play God of War on the Android. I'm going to be able to play it on the tablet. All of this stuff was coming out. But the thing is, man, it is not ideal. Okay. Yes, it's an option, and it's been there. This option has been there on the PlayStation for quite some time now. At least I think around like 2 years. But now all of a sudden, because Xbox is saying that they're putting their games on so many different devices. They're trying to reach 2 billion gamers. Now they're saying, hey, look, Sony's doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing. Now, I will tell you this. I am a firm believer that Sony does copy everybody. I believe that Sony copies Microsoft, they copy Nintendo. They are the ones that sit back and wait like a daggone lion in the doggone forest, not even in the forest, in the safari, and they're just waiting to pounce on the competition. Once they see where they failed, once they see where their strongholds are, that's when they attack. And that's the smart thing to do. I'm not at all faulting Sony for having that kind of strategy at all. But when people go out there and say that this is what Sony is doing, no, Sony is just saying, look, this is an option. This is what you can do if you want to do it. It's not necessary. Microsoft, they're going about it completely different. Microsoft is like, here's my clothes. Here's my shirt. Here's my jacket. Here, you guys take it all. I want you to have it. I want you guys to be able to play anything, anywhere, at any time. You want my exclusives? You got them. Here you go. And they're just putting it on Front Street the whole way through and through, whereas Sony is like, yeah, it's on iOS. Yeah, sure, go ahead, have at it. It's not the same thing. It's not the same energy. Microsoft, right now, they seem like they are desperate. And I'm going to tell you something. Shout out to Mike J. Me and him had a conversation offline. I'm not going to mention the things that we talked about. It was gaming related, but I don't have his permission to talk about it. But I'll say what I said. I was saying that Microsoft, all they have to do, this is not rocket science. This is not a hard mathematical problem that you can't figure out. All you have to do, Microsoft, is bring out AAA games that people want to play. That is all you have to do. I don't think this is hard to understand. Obviously, it must be very hard for Microsoft to get this concept because they're putting things on PC. They're putting things on Android. They're putting things on iOS. They're trying to go everywhere. Instead of, to me, it seems like they're not concentrating on their core base, which is the Xbox fan who has the console. It seems like they're throwing the guy with the console to the side, trying to please everybody else that probably doesn't give a dag on about what you're doing. Microsoft, listen. You bring out the games, the AAA games. I'm not talking about this, DayZ looks horrible. Okay, it looks terrible. All right, the other game that they have out, what is it, man? I can't even remember the name of the darn game. I'm gonna remember it. Hold on, I got it written down. State of Decay 2. Horrible game. Absolutely horrible. You mean to tell me this is the quality of game that you think that your fan base deserves? Now, I understand that it was talks from Microsoft saying that some of their new studios are going to show off some of their new games, but some of these studios have already went out there the first time out. State of Decay, that group of people, good gosh, Microsoft, please give them some money so they can make a better product. Because right now, State of Decay 2 is, oh my goodness, I don't even know what that's supposed to be. All right, the other game that came out that I can't think of the name of it, We Happy Few, another horrible game, but you guys picked them up, you scooped them up and brought them into the Microsoft family. I really hope that these guys can do something amazing, because right now, the only teams that I am, in my mind, thinking are going to do anything great are the producers that are behind Hellblade and the guys that they're bringing together called The Initiative, Ninja Theory. Those are the only two I have any hope in out of this new bundle of people, not people, but teams that they have picked up. Maybe the game, what is it, Two Worlds or Among Two Worlds? I don't know. Those games might be decent, or those guys might do well, but come to find out, some of their games are still going to the PlayStation 4. They're not going to be Xbox exclusive until like 1 or 2 games later, somewhere around there. So Microsoft is not rocket science. Bring out some great games, great content, and the people will follow. That's all you gotta do. You're trying to reach 2 billion gamers. Man, to me, I think you're cheating. Because you're just gonna throw a service up there. Hey, you guys go ahead and pay $10 a month. It's a great service. I'm not saying that it's not. But do the groundwork. Make sure that you're keeping your fan base occupied and behind you, because right now I feel like you're turning your back on the guys that helped get you to where you are, that bought your software, that bought your hardware, that champion your name. I feel like you guys are doing us a disservice. Anyway, moving on. Now let's get into, man, I gotta wipe my darn brow. God darn, I'm sweating up in here, man. All right, man, let me get back on the microphone. Check 1, check 2, we live. All right, now let's get into some Remedy news. Now, for me personally, I liked Quantum Break. Yes, it was rough around the edges. And shout out to Microsoft for trying to bring out a new IP. I will give them that. But, you know, it was a little rough around the edges, and the controls, good gosh, they could have used some work. But despite that, I wanted a sequel to it. I wanted to try and see what a new Quantum Break would be. Oh my goodness. But if you're familiar with Control, you can tell this might be as close as we get to a sequel. But it's been pretty quiet lately. Not a lot has been coming out about Remedy's new game, Control. Well, that has finally changed, because we at least have an idea when the game will be released. And this is according to Game Informer, that the game will release sometime this summer. Now, Remedy has also said there will be DLC, and unlike Quantum Break, it will be faster paced and more to the point. The game will also be a blend of science fiction and horror, and it will be released, on PlayStation 4, PC, and Xbox One. Now, I must say, Control, when I saw this game at E3 2018 on Sony's stage, I said, God darn, this is nothing but Quantum Break. What do you think you're trying to pull on me? Man, the dog, I'm about to say the controls, the colors look the same. The gameplay with the telekinesis and all that look the same. But I gotta tell you, it's a female protagonist. Game looks dope. I'm really, really excited about Control. I like the fact that they're going to try to make this a little more fast paced. It's going to be science fiction and horror. That sounds very, very interesting. Heck of a combination right there. I'm very excited about this game. Remedy, am I a big fan of Remedy? I'm kind of on Remedy, because Quantum Break, to me, it had so much potential, but those long cutscenes of video, I could have done without all of that. Yeah, I didn't need it. You know, if they had just put it in the game, it would have been cool. Good idea, but I think just bad execution on their part. But I am excited for this. I think that this game will be good. I'm hoping it will. Alan Wake, I didn't really play Alan Wake. Max Payne back in the day, I gotta give it to him. Remedy, man, they gave us bullet time. All right, maybe Remedy's a little higher on my level, because they were the first to do that bullet time in Max Payne, and that was absolutely mind-blowing. That was around the time when The Matrix came out, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm shooting guys in slow motion. This is so cinematical. Oh, it's so cinematical. So I guess Remedy's all right, man, but hopefully Control will live up. I don't think it's much hype around it, but I just hope that it's a solid game. So it being released this summer, maybe we'll see it at E3, maybe not. We'll see. Future is coming up. The future, I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, in the future, we'll see what's going on. Shoot. Moving on. Oh man. Into some more quick news. Okay. Xbox has a new controller. Now, oh shoot. I forgot to talk about this. Now, this was something I wrote down like 2 or 3 days ago, but I didn't get a chance to record until today. So yesterday, on the Xbox Insider show, they did show this white controller. It was actually, at the time I wrote this, it was actually leaked by Amazon Mexico, where it was being called Phantom White, and it was going to be a see-through controller, which it actually turned out to be that. Now, it will feature a 3.5 millimeter jack. It's going to be Bluetooth tech. It's going to have textured grip, custom button mapping, and yeah, that's about it. Yeah, that's about it right there. I wrote this other note that says Crackdown 2 is free. Yeah. But anyway, the controller itself is going to be available April 2nd. No price point was given, but man, I tell you, here we go. Xbox, look, if y'all were, and this is not even a diss to Microsoft, because I want to tell you guys really quickly, that adaptive controller, that really touched my heart, man. As a person who thought that his gaming hobby could have been in trouble at one point when I had the radial nerve palsy in my left hand, when I was able to see that Microsoft had something like this, it gave me hope to let me know that, hey, if I can't game anymore, at least that is an option. So my hat truly goes off to Microsoft. It's heartwarming to see that people who may not have had a chance to be able to game have an opportunity now because of this controller. But when you're talking about just bringing out regular Xbox controllers, okay, outside of that controller, regular Xbox controllers, how many of these things are you going to make, Microsoft? I understand it's about getting the money, it's about getting to the bag, but good grief, can we just please concentrate on the games? Please, Microsoft. But nonetheless, it's another one out there for you. Hopefully some people will pick it up. I'm sure they will, because these things go like hotcakes, like water in a desert. So, I don't know the price point, but, yeah, we'll see what happens in the future with this one. Now, moving on. Now, we know this E3, oh my goodness, it will be unlike any other because Sony won't be there. Now, this is the thing. Not only will Sony not be there, but it has been announced that neither will EA. Now, even though they will have their annual EA Play event that's going to take place from June 7th to June 9th, the E3 press conference will not happen this year. So, last year, okay, when they had their E3 presentation, man, I will tell you, it was very, very trying for me to get through that presentation. The only game that I was excited for was Unraveled 2, which was a heck of a great announcement. I really enjoyed that it was available day and date. And outside of that, I was very interested in Anthem. Everything else outside of that, good grief, EA. Look, I applaud you for your efforts. I really do. But if they were going to have a repeat of that show at this year's E3, then I think it is best for them to back out and just say, look, we're not going to do that. We're going to have our regular event, the EA Play event. And after that, we're packing up shop and we getting the heck on down the road back to headquarters. So I don't fault them for that. However, Sony missing out on E3 this year. Goose made a very, very valid point when he said that it is that time of year. He said, I don't care if you're up by double numbers as far as your lead on the competition. E3 week is that week where all gamers get together. It's a brotherhood and you're there. You're there for the event. You're there to show support. You're there for the fan base. It's just that 1 week that all gamers are united. Now, it will be beefs after the conferences happen, whether the conference was good, whether it was bad. You know, some person may say, hey, I didn't like it. I mean, that's normal banter within the community once E3 happens, but that's all part of the excitement. And for Sony to be backing out of this event, it's going to be a very, very different E3, and I'm going to surely miss Sony being there, because it's some kind of magic that has happened with Sony in this generation with their E3s. Now, some are better than others. Last year's, I don't know what that was with the Last of Us 2. Great idea. I think it was just bad execution because they had to move them to another center or another part of the building, which broke the immersion of E3. And it was like, man, what the heck was that? So, like I said, same rules apply for Sony. If they don't have anything to show, then it's best not to show up at all. But it would have been really, really great to have everybody there. So anyway, not much more to talk about with this one. So let's go ahead and move on to some Cyberpunk 2077. Now, we haven't heard much about this title for the last several months. I mean, it's been little tidbits here and there. But it has been said that the game will be, since we're on the topic of E3, the game will be at this year's E3 according to GameSpot. And if you can't wait for that, PlayStation does have a video up called Creating Cyberpunk 2077 where you can look into the game for yourself. And that video is not long. It's around 5 minutes long, and you can check it out at your own leisure. So for me, Cyberpunk 2077. This is a game that I'm very excited about. CD Projekt Red has been working on this game for a very long time. I believe some other information that did come out about the game, it did say that the game will not completely follow the timeline of the board game. I think it's going to be 30 years after that timeline for the from the board game to the actual video game, because they wanted to give themselves a little bit of leeway on what they could do with the story and the lore of the universe, the Cyberpunk universe. So they said that they're exploring that. And they also talked about, now this isn't in the video, I don't believe, but they talked about why they haven't been showing a lot of screenshots and video for the game, because they said some things just won't make it into the final game. Sometimes this boss or this enemy may be in this version of the game. 6 months later, we got to cut it. 3 months later, that character may come back. So they don't want to put out there, I guess, basically false hopes as to what the game is, as to what it actually is going to be. So I can understand that. We live in a time where everybody's so sensitive, and oh gosh, I can't believe you did that. And it's like, man, look, the game is under daggone development. Things are going to change. Not everything is going to remain the same, but they're trying to play it safe. They're trying to protect their brand, and I can understand that. But nonetheless, they're going to be at E3. Now, to what capacity or magnitude that they're going to be there, they didn't say. I don't know if they're going to do another on-stage presentation with Microsoft again and, maybe show actual gameplay. You just never know. We'll have to see. But E3 is in sometime, 3 months or something like that. So we'll see. But anyway, moving on from there. Now, I want to say, as it stands right now, and I mean, god darn, this is a rumor. So please, please, please take this with a mustard seed of truth. But according to Creative Agency Territory Studios, who worked on, who worked on the game's title card. Man, wait a minute. This is nothing. This is just a continuation of the Cyberpunk news. X that out. This is unprofessional productions over here, brother. Ain't nothing changed. But let's move on from that. All right, now, Kojima. Let's talk about Mr. Hideo Kojima. Now, he hasn't really been showing much off on his upcoming game called Death Stranding, to the public at least, but instead he has been showing it behind the scenes to creative director Julian Guerreri, who is the director on The Division 2, who said, and I quote, "Hugely thankful to @Kojima_Hideo for having welcomed us to his gorgeous studio and show us his mind-blowing game. Trust me, #Death Stranding will be timeless." So, and that's the end of the quote. So this got me to thinking. Now, we haven't seen much about Death Stranding, another game where there haven't been a lot of screenshots. We have no idea what the story is about. We've definitely seen video, seen a nice sized demo of the game, and I think everybody left the demo just as confused as they were before they even saw anything. So, I mean, right now, according to this guy, he's saying that this game is going to be timeless. It's going to be mind-blowing. We can only go off of what this gentleman says. Now, do I believe this wholeheartedly? You know, it's hard to say because a lot of guys in the industry are friends, and I don't really see them throwing each other up under the bus. If anything, they help one another. So whether or not this game is going to be mind-blowing, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not saying that it's not gonna be. It is Hideo Kojima. I do think Kojima is a little overrated myself. No, I think he's overrated. I'm not going to say a little. I think he's overrated. Metal Gear was a great game. Fantastic. I think that the boss fight with Phantom, what was his name? Menace. I'm thinking about Star Wars. But the guy, the Psycho Mantis, the guy that could read your thoughts and you had to turn your controller from port 1 to port 2. Absolutely one of the greatest boss fights that I have ever played and witnessed in my gaming life. I mean, monumental. Having Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, that was so much cut scenes and I didn't understand the lolly lule low and all of that stuff. It was convoluted. I couldn't understand. 1 minute I'm Snake, the next minute I'm fighting on Capitol Hill with Raiden and don't know what the heck is going on. You know, and Metal Gear Solid 5 seemed like it was just unfinished and he had been working on it for so long that Konami had to tell him, look, man, you gotta just pull the plug. Come on and let's go. So I don't know. I'm really up in the air with Kojima. I don't think that he's one of the GOATs. Well, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna go that far and say that he's not one of the greatest guys out there doing it, developers. But I do think people put a little too much stock into Kojima at times for his body of work. Yes, he's mainly worked on Metal Gear games. He has Psychonauts out there, and he was I think a co-producer on Zone of Enders, but that wasn't his game. So I don't know. I don't know why the world I'm even going off on this tangent right now, to be honest. But nonetheless, Death Stranding, it could be coming out this year. That's what they're saying. I highly doubt that, but we'll see in the future. That's going to be my new thing, man. We're going to see in the future. So moving on into since we're just talking about E3 just a couple minutes ago, E3 is taking place from June 11th until June 13th. Now, if you're interested in attending the event, tickets are going to start at $249 for a standard gaming badge, which is good for all 3 days. Or you can get a premium badge, and this is ridiculous prices, for $995, which gives you VIP lounge access. You're going to be able to get there. You're going to have early access hours for all 3 days. You'll have a catered breakfast and lunch and premium seating at the E3 panels, along with several other perks. Now, one very interesting thing to point out is that they didn't say anything about actually attending the Microsoft conference itself. They said that you would be able to have premium seating once again for the panels. So that leads me to think that if you go to E3, you probably won't be going into the conference itself. For $1,000, you won't be at Microsoft's E3 conference. That's what it seems like. But outside of that, another interesting thing to point out is this is the final show at the LA Convention Center, which could mean E3 is moving to a new city. Now, the reason why they may be leaving is because the ESA CEO, Michael Gallagher, wants the LA Convention Center to upgrade and modernize the facility and increase the show floor space. So we'll see what happens. A lot of people have been saying they wish they would move it to Nevada because Nevada is a much bigger, more open place to actually have the event versus LA, which is very, very expensive and very crowded. So this could be a big move. 2020 could be as up in the air as E3 itself is right now as far as the event goes, because with so many people pulling out, with Sony pulling out, with EA pulling out, who knows, with Nintendo not really showing up at E3 and being on the E3 stage, that is three huge major players that are not going to show up at one of the, if not the biggest gaming event of the year. So once again, could E3 be dying? Could this be E3's final days? We'll have to see. I mean, next year, maybe Sony comes back, but nothing is guaranteed. So we can move on from there. Now, in more Google, I talked about that. That was Jade Raymond, who is, signed up with Google again. No need to go through that. Now, how about this one? Okay, now if you're attending PAX East, which takes place March 28th to the 31st, Nintendo is going to be there showing several games off at their booth. Now, this is according to Destructoid.com. These will include Mortal Kombat 11, Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, and get this one, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. What the world? Now, these are some very, very interesting games. The least amazing game on this list that I will say, and Bloodstain is going to be there as well. But I'll say that the game that I am least shocked about on this list, outside of Bloodstain, of course, is Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, because I believe Assassin's Creed 3 was on the Wii U. So to actually port that over to have it look just like Assassin's Creed 3 did, I don't think that's going to be a big task. But when you start talking about having games like Mortal Kombat 11 and Hellblade coming over to that console, I mean, good grief, those are two graphically, they are graphically intense games. Now, I understand that, who is it? Not Ubisoft, but, Wolfenstein, whoever made Wolfenstein and Fallout 3, I'm forgetting their name, Bethesda Games, I know that they have already ported over some big games. Doom is on there. Games that we would have never thought would ever run on the Nintendo Switch. They have worked some kind of do you believe in magic kind of situation with that and made them actually run. So I'm not doubting that Mortal Kombat 11 can be on there or Hellblade, but at the same time, man, I tell you, I never would have thought that Nintendo would have Mortal Kombat 11 on their system, because it is M-rated through and through. And I know that you can't get any worse than Doom, but to have the possibility of being able to have this game with you portable, that's quite amazing. I don't know how it's going to look graphically, but I am very, very interested in seeing the performance of both of those titles. So we'll see if this is true. And if it is, like I said, hopefully we'll see some video of it and have a demo to see how well it actually holds up on that console. Now, okay, what is this one? All right, now let's step into that alternate universe where some of the biggest stories live, and that's the Rumorverse. Yes, the Rumorverse. Now, this has caught a lot of attention, as it should. But apparently, and I mean, god darn, take this with a gigantic, huge mustard seed of truth, because right now it is just a rumor. But it looks like Take2. Oh man, you guys are familiar with them, right? GTA, 2K franchise, the basketball franchise, Red Dead Redemption 2 and 1. Well, let's get into it. I'm beating around the bush. Apparently, their stock has increased dramatically, I think by like 7%. And it's because, according to the first Market Watch, which is the name of this group, First Market Watch, they are reporting that Wedbush Securities analyst, who goes by the name of Joel Colina, said Sony is currently in, and I quote, advanced board level discussions to acquire Take2 Interactive in a mostly cash deal. End of quote. Now, let me see. Okay, GameSpot had reached out to Joel about the matter, where Joel expressed frustration with what he says is a misquote, and he continued to say, there is nothing behind this story that I've seen. Kaluna, I hope I'm saying his name right, Kaluna, told GameSpot, and I quote, no one has found a source. Market chatter refers to simply what we hear on trading desks happening daily. Just more surprised this has gone viral like it has. End of quote. Now, Mr. Kaluna, here I go again. Kaluna. Hopefully I ain't butchering that brother's name. But man, when he said this, I don't know why he would think that this wouldn't catch fire. He's saying he's just more surprised this has gone viral. Are you kidding me? Sony actually picking up one of the absolute biggest, one of the best, umbrellas out there with so many great games underneath of it. Take2 Interactive, all of those AAA titles that they have that make millions upon millions, that sell tens of millions of copies. You didn't think this was going to be huge news? This was such great news that Sony stock raised like 1% off of this rumor alone. So whether or not this is true, man, they're talking about that it's going to be a cash deal. Are you serious? Sony is going to come to the table with cash to actually buy Take-Two? I think not. If they're going to come to the table with cash, look, I don't know how much Sony has on standby. Sony is a multi-million-dollar business. I don't know how many millions, but I know they have a ton. But for them to actually come and buy Take-Two out with cash, I just don't see that. I don't even see Take-Two wanting to be bought after Red Dead Redemption 2. So what? I can't recall the actual numbers, but like 10 million copies in like 7 days, somewhere around there. I don't see why they would even be interested in this. It's not like the company is doing well, I will say Take-Two stock has dropped a bit over the last couple of months. Their stock has not been up to snuff where it once was before Red Dead Redemption 2 came out. I'm not 100% sure what that situation could be about. Maybe it's because Red Dead 2 isn't getting the same love as GTA 5 did online, or maybe it could be other various things. Who knows? But yeah, the stock has been down lately, but nonetheless, I don't think this is going to be something Sony can afford to do. I think this is just a big rumor. Like the guy said, he said it himself. Nobody can find it. Nobody can find where this holds any truth. He said that it was something that got misconstrued. It wasn't exactly what he said. It got taken out of context, and nobody can find the proof that this deal is really on the table. I mean, this could be a situation where they're covering it up, but you just never know. At one point, I thought that Microsoft was going to buy EA. We all thought that was going to happen, and that was going to be amazing. But of course, that was nothing but a pipe dream. That wasn't happening. So I think that this is the same thing. I'm definitely interested to know if Sony actually, if this is real and Sony is going to pick them up. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how many Xbox fans are going to be pissed? Because I think that, look, that is the biggest trump card you can play. If you are not Microsoft, PlayStation or Sony, and you can say, look, all GTAs, all Red Dead Redemptions, if they ever make it, any bullies that come out, 2K, the basketball game, all of these franchises are exclusive to our platform, and we're not sharing with PC. We're not sharing with Microsoft or the Xbox community. If you want to play these games, you got to come on over to Sony. Oh my gosh. You want to talk about the internet melting and burning to the ground? I almost hope this is true, just to see the reactions of people who are so invested in this console war, they just champion who they champion and they don't care about anybody else. Now I want to let you guys know I am a Xbox fan through and through. I absolutely love the Xbox brand, but right now they got me a little in my feelings. Well, not in my feelings. They just got me a little upset with some of the moves that they're making right now. And I think that Microsoft needs a bit of a kick. I don't know how much more you can kick and punch them to try to get them to, fight back and get back to what they used to be. But if this is the case, good gosh, it is going to be it's going to be fireworks on the doggone internet. But, I would love to get you guys' thoughts about this, but, we will, I guess, hey man, forget it. That is the end of the gaming news this week. That was a heck of a thud, man. But we will be back with this week's question after Video Game Theater. Stay tuned,
We're gonna
guys.
get a really nice shot of them. It's gonna be beautiful. I mean, you taught them these moves, man.
No.
But we want to make sure that we see them.
Okay.
Well, we want to see you.
Just
too.
film it, man.
Okay. Well, just keep looking at me, but stand over there. Okay.
You mean here?
Yes. Very cool. Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go.
Beautiful. All right.
You ready for this?
Yes, I am. Turn this way, please. Turn this way.
5,
Yeah.
6,
looking at
7,
me.
8, 8.
Good. Right over here.
Let me see you work. This way.
Yes. Good. Perfect. Cool.
So how do I look, man?
You look good.
Do I look gay?
No. It's a very manly kind of dance.
Okay, so here we go then. Yeah. See, it's the streets, man. But people gotta understand the struggles. For real. You know what I'm saying? They gotta understand the struggles. Yeah.
Oh, hey, Nico. This is my boyfriend's cousin, the guy I was telling you about, Nico. How's my Roman doing anyway?
For a guy who just lost his home and his business, who now has a price on his head, pretty good.
I love his optimism.
Listen up.
So, Nico, this is Manny. We grew up together.
Hey, yeah. What's up, man? Streets, man. All right.
This is the guy I told you about who beat up all those thugs and broke us.
Yeah, great. Listen, Melody, would you give us a little space, please?
All right.
Okay, yeah, great. So, streets take no prisoners, right? But, kids need hope. You know what I'm saying?
Not really.
Yeah, well, sometimes you gotta break some omelets to make some eggs, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, and...
Yeah, well, we gotta clean up some eggs, brother. We're gonna clean them up, Yeah, right here. Turn around, man, right here.
Here, Manny Escuela is rapping with a street accomplice about cleaning up the streets
Yeah.
of Boaz.
Turn that off.
These
Wait a
criminals are trying to reform their neighborhood. Hey, please,
Hey, hold on
what are
a
you
second.
doing? Hey, Manny!
Sorry.
Okay, everyone, that'll be all for today. That was great. Thank you very much. That'll be all for today. Thanks a lot. What are you doing?
What were you saying?
We gotta get some of these dealers off the streets, man, and I want him to know it was me, man.
Fine, just don't point the camera at me when you...
And welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Oh, man. Let me let you guys know that game that was played on this week's Video Game Theater comes courtesy of Rockstar. Oh, what a timely fashion for GTA 4. Now, I'm only saying that because some people have asked, why the world don't you just tell us what the name of the clip is, what the game is? So that's GTA 4. I hope you guys loved it. That game was amazing when it first came out. Absolutely amazing. Now, let's move on. And what the heck is up with that amazing? I don't know what that is, brother. But let's go ahead and move on from there. And let's get into this week's question. Now, this week, oh my gosh, like I said, it has been a heck of a news week. Now, I'm sure that by now you are all familiar with the all-digital Xbox that's rumored to be out as early as May. Sorry about that. I hit the microphone. Unprofessional. Good grief. But it's supposed to be out as early as May. Now, this story comes way of Windows Central, who reported that the system is informally called Xbox Maverick and will be rebranded as the Xbox One S All Digital Edition, which will be available globally in all regions in May, if the rumors are to be believed. So my question to you guys is, can a all-digital Xbox sell in this day and age? Now, I am sure, and shout out to Mike J again. We had a long conversation about this. I wanted him, Goose, Aaron from Game Enthuse, as well as Cody Clark to be on the show earlier. Unfortunately, we were just on different schedules, so it didn't happen, but shout out to those brothers for even being willing to do it, but just didn't have the time. Because of me, I just sprung it on everybody. But, I just, want to say, I truly believe that this could be a bad idea. And this is the reason why. I think that, me personally, I think it's a little too late for this to be out in the wild. Now, we can look at it several different ways. We know that Microsoft, they are working on this xCloud service that is going to be all digital. Maybe this all digital Xbox One is a test. Maybe it's to test the market to see how much people are willing to put up with all digital and leave physical completely behind, because it is no way on earth that you'll be putting a disc in a discless Xbox. So I think you're going to need, this is going to come with a few things that Microsoft may have to take on the chin. One of those being hard drive space. It is no way you can go out there and sell a all digital Xbox with a 1 terabyte hard drive. I have a 4 terabyte hard drive, and I have about, I don't know, give or take offhand, about 40 something games on there right now. And it's taking up about 25% of it, which is roughly a little over, just under 2 terabytes for that many games. Now, I'm sure that not everybody is going to have that many games. Some people are a little more, what do you call it? I guess, a little more casual, as it were, and, you know, it won't be a problem for them. But for me, basically, I don't know if this is such a good idea. Maybe if Microsoft had tried to do this, I would say roughly about maybe last year, that might have been the best time, because to me personally, this generation is wrapping up. It's already talks that Microsoft, they're going to be presenting their next generation hardware at E3. It's still a rumor. It's not 100% confirmed, but that is something that they are saying that they will be doing. So I think that once people are privy to next generation hardware coming out, that they're going to say, okay, look, this is over. This generation is over, and why would I want to get a all digital box? Now, I could be thinking about this in a totally different way, because I am an older gamer. You have younger gamers who have never bought a CD, a music CD in their life. They go to SoundCloud, they go to iTunes, they go to Audio Mac, Spotify, so many other places you can go to get your fix for music. It's no reason to buy a CD. So that generation of gamers, they'll look at this and they possibly could say, you know what? I would like that option much more than having to get a physical disc, having to wait outside, or having to go into a store and pick one up when I can buy it on the store. Now, another thing that Microsoft could do that could really help this system be pushed is put it at a very, very good price point. That's what Mike J was telling me. He said it needs to be at a good price point. $150 would be great, but if they could get it to about $100, which we both agreed is probably not going to happen, but if they could, that would be amazing value, which could bring in maybe a customer that has not upgraded to a Xbox One. It could bring somebody new in that could be a casual fan that is just looking for a console to play, and they're not necessarily keeping up with the new generations of hardware that are coming out. So that's another angle they could play. Also, I was thinking if it's all digital, and I know this is nothing but a pipe dream, that maybe since it is all digital and that's what they're pushing, maybe the games could drop in price after 2 weeks or a month. Newer games or brand new games, they just become cheaper on the Xbox One digital version to give people that incentive to just go on over to digital. Now, would that ever happen? I 100% doubt it. But I think it would be a great incentive. Also, if they could include Game Pass with this, maybe a year, I would say a year membership, not 2 months, not 3 months. They have to make it something where the person gets so used to it and it is so much a part of that UI that they use that they just go right to it every time without even thinking about it. They're definitely going to have to do something with Game Pass with this to make it work. But outside of that, I don't know. I mean, hey, I would love to get you guys' opinion on this. What do you feel? Do you feel that an all digital Xbox can sell at this time in the generation? You can call in at 443-216-9934 to express your opinion, or you can email the show at the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Guys, this has been an absolute treat for me. It feels so good to be back. I appreciate the support that you guys have given me. And man, oh man, with that being said, I'm going to get up out of here. But before we go, always remember, it is not about the consoles. It is about the games. So with that being said, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye. Oh man, I hope that you guys please stick around really quickly. I left off 2 other stories. Man, one of these was the VR for Nintendo. Good grief. It looks like Nintendo, me personally, I think Nintendo has been doing a great job for themselves with the Switch, and they continue to innovate because Nintendo has announced that they are releasing a quote-unquote Nintendo Labo VR kit for the Nintendo Switch. Now, for the complete Labo VR kit, it'll sell for $79.99 and will include 6 different toys, which are wind pedals and elephant. It's going to have a Blaster VR. Blaster VR goggles. It's going to have a camera and a bird. But if you don't want to spend that kind of money, you can buy the starter pack for $39.99, which includes Blaster toy and the VR goggles. Now, the Nintendo VR Labo kit will be available on April 12th. Almost forgot to tell you guys that. And one more thing that I missed was it is officially done. Days Gone has gone gold, and the people at the studio are very happy. They are extra hype about this. And if you didn't know, the game will be available on April 26th. That is it officially. Hopefully you guys stuck around to the end. I do apologize for leaving those 2 stories out. It'll never, hopefully, happen again. So I am out of here for the second time, guys.